What if everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's most iconic duo was only the surface of a story far more heartbreaking, powerful, and unexpected? Behind the flashing cameras and timeless hits lies a tangled web of secrets, silent battles, and emotional reckonings that never made the headlines. From private health crises to political reinventions, and a family torn between love and distance, this isn't just a tale of fame. It's a haunting reminder of how quickly the spotlight can fade, revealing the raw truth hidden underneath. Are you ready to uncover what really happened when the curtain fell? Cher's journey didn't begin on a red carpet. It began in a cramped home in Fresno, California, with young parents clinging to fleeting romance. Her mother, Georgia Holt, a small-town dreamer working at a donut shop, met John Sarkeesian, a charismatic truck driver, in a whirl of love and impulse. They married quickly in Nevada, full of hope, but hope unraveled fast. Georgia realized marriage wasn't what she wanted. Though they tried again briefly, she became pregnant with Cher during that second attempt. Less than a year after Cher was born, the couple split for good. Her biological father faded from her life, but not without leaving behind one defining gift: her Armenian heritage, something Cher still holds close to her identity. Her early life was marked not by lullabies, but by instability. Georgia married 7 times, twice to Cher's father. With each marriage came new stepfathers, new homes, and a revolving door of temporary stability. Actor John Southall, Georgia's third husband, provided some fatherly presence, but even that ended before Cher turned 10. One of the most heartbreaking moments came when Georgia, overwhelmed by financial hardship, left 2-year-old Cher in a Catholic orphanage temporarily while seeking work and shelter. That wound stayed with her. She and her half-sister often bounced between relatives, especially grandparents, never knowing how long one roof would last. At school, Cher was the girl with patched-up shoes. She remembers holding them together with rubber bands just to avoid embarrassment. One week she was eating beans out of a can, the next she was walking the streets of Beverly Hills. That contrast created a confusing reality. Was she a child of promise or a child of poverty? That internal conflict would echo throughout her life. In a Vanity Fair interview, she once admitted to feeling deep shame over her worn clothes and being scolded for breaking shoes she couldn't afford to replace. But all of it, every struggle, every night spent in uncertainty, forged a strength that glitter could never buy. Even as a teen, she felt like a misfit. Yes, she was striking, tall, with raven hair and magnetic energy, but inside, she was out of place. School didn't speak to her dreams. She struggled academically, especially with reading and writing, likely facing undiagnosed learning difficulties. Teachers dismissed her, writing, "Not living up to potential" on report cards, but Cher wasn't dreaming of textbooks. She was envisioning stadiums, cameras, and a life far from the ordinary. At 16, she made a life-altering decision. She dropped out of school, packed up her dreams, and headed for Los Angeles with no money, but limitless will. There, she met Sonny Bono, a man working for music legend Phil Spector. Their relationship began in survival. He offered her a place to stay in exchange for housekeeping. But something clicked. Friendship turned into partnership, and then into love. And just like that, a musical revolution was born. Together they crafted a sound that defined a generation. "I Got You, Babe" didn't just top charts. It became a cultural symbol of young love and defiance in a world spinning with unrest. It was their moment, and they seized it with everything they had. With each hit, "Baby Don't Go," "The Beat Goes On," they built a dynasty. But their ambition stretched beyond music, an industry known for its ruthlessness. Over the years, Cher built more than an empire. She built a fortress. With smart investments and bold financial choices, she became a symbol of self-made success. She owned luxury cars from Bentleys to Ferraris, and she was known to collect rare, high-end timepieces from Rolex and Cartier. Her real estate portfolio is vast, from Italian villas to sprawling Los Angeles estates, some with private jet hangars. She's also flown privately for years, a lifestyle choice that reflects both luxury and the need for privacy. But she didn't just spend, she built. Cher invested in fashion, fragrance lines, and even biotech companies. She's also held equity in several major media projects. Her insurance policies were carefully constructed, covering everything from her vocal cords to her real estate assets, ensuring that a health issue or professional halt wouldn't destroy her legacy. This wasn't just celebrity spending. It was long-game strategy. And it worked. Today, Cher stands as one of the few stars who've weathered every storm and emerged even stronger. The lesson? Reinvention isn't a risk, it's survival. Cher's journey proves that failure doesn't define you, persistence does. She transformed hardship into art, instability into adaptability, and heartbreak into resilience. Every setback was a stepping stone. Every struggle added another layer to her legendary status. And while the world may continue to admire her voice and glamour, it's her raw, real-life battle that reveals the woman behind the icon. In the whirlwind of fading fame and mounting debts, Cher and Sonny found themselves at a crossroads. With their musical stardom dimming and their finances dwindling, they made a decision that would redefine their careers. They became a live act in Las Vegas. It was more than a last-ditch effort to stay afloat. It was a transformation. What began as a pivot for survival evolved into an unexpected success, and the sparkle of the Vegas stage breathed new life into their brand. Their chemistry, quick wit, and Cher's famously sharp comebacks became a signature element that drew crowds night after night. And just when it seemed like they'd settled into this new rhythm, Hollywood came knocking again. In 1971, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour hit television screens, and the response was explosive. The audience couldn't get enough of their charming clashes, timeless tunes, and cheeky humor. But while the ratings soared, cracks behind the curtain deepened. The couple's public smiles masked growing emotional distance. Behind their synchronized stage presence, their personal lives were unraveling. Cher later admitted that pretending everything was okay became one of the hardest performances of all. They stayed together, not for love, but for legacy. And for a while, that illusion worked. But the strain was quietly mounting. A diary entry from Sonny in 1973 revealed the truth. He knew the image they projected was holding everything together, even when their reality was slipping away. Living that double life came at a price. By 1974, the truth could no longer be hidden. Cher filed for divorce, and in 1975, both their romantic and professional partnerships officially ended. That divorce wasn't just emotional. It was financially devastating for Cher. She had left the business side in Sonny's hands and now found herself almost penniless. She walked away from their empire with very little, burdened by debt and betrayed by the very partnership that had once lifted her to stardom. It was a harsh ending, but also a beginning. With everything stripped away, Cher was left with only her voice, her will, and a fierce determination to rebuild. While the public saw the glitz of television lights, they didn't see the quiet battles she fought in dressing rooms and behind closed doors. Still, she rose. Alone for the first time in years, she launched her own variety show, Cher, stepping into an unknown that terrified and thrilled her. Critics doubted her. Some even said she couldn't succeed without Sonny, but she proved them wrong. The show was a hit. Viewers loved her solo, her charm, her style, her strength. While Sonny's new show, The Sonny Comedy Review, flopped and was canceled after just one season, Cher's star continued to rise. But her journey through music didn't mirror that same success. Her 1975 album Stars barely made a dent on the charts. In 1976, I'd Rather Believe in You failed entirely. Even Cherished in 1977 couldn't reignite her music career. She wasn't just battling public perception. She was fighting to stay relevant in a brutal industry that quickly forgets yesterday's stars. And yet, she didn't stop. Instead, she embraced collaboration. In 1977, she married Greg Allman, just days after her divorce from Sonny finalized. It was a whirlwind union. A mix of passion and uncertainty, unpredictability, was far removed from the one she knew. It was a clash of realities that left Cher shaken. But love and hope lingered. A month later, they reconciled, holding on to the dream that they could build something real. That fragile hope bled into music when the two recorded To the Hard Way. But the project failed to captivate fans of either star. It quickly faded from memory, leaving Cher once again at a professional standstill. By 1978, Warner Brothers cut ties with her, and the future seemed more uncertain than ever. This wasn't just a string of flops. It was a chapter of quiet desperation, a test of endurance that pushed Cher to the edge of reinvention. Yet even in that stillness, she was preparing her next move. While others saw her as fading, she was studying, learning, evolving. Behind the scenes, Cher was building a legacy not just in performance, but in power. Her financial comeback is nothing short of legendary. After years of rebuilding, Cher's current net worth is estimated at over $360 million. She owns an exquisite real estate portfolio that includes her iconic Italian Renaissance-style mansion in Malibu, once valued at over $85 million, a Beverly Hills estate, and properties in New York and Florida. She had climbed back from the edge of heartbreak and obscurity, only to be hit with yet another emotional storm. Just as Cher reached the peak of her acting career, winning over Hollywood and silencing every doubt, the ground shifted once again. The whirlwind success of Moonstruck had put her on a new pedestal, proving that she wasn't just a music icon, but a force in film. But even as she dazzled the world on screen, her personal life was quietly unraveling behind the scenes. Greg Allman, the man she had loved so deeply, had once again become part of her narrative, but not in the way anyone expected. Their rocky love story, marked by passion, separation, and brief reunions, took one last dramatic turn, when Cher discovered she was pregnant shortly after their divorce. That single revelation momentarily rewrote their ending, giving both of them hope for a future neither expected. The birth of their son, Elijah Blue, gave Cher and Greg something to anchor themselves to. It wasn't just about rekindling romance, it was about family, purpose, and starting fresh. But some cracks run too deep to patch over. Despite their attempts to hold on, the tension never left. Their love, though real and raw, couldn't stand against the weight of their differences. By 1978, they parted for good. Years later, Cher reflected on their time together not with bitterness, but with haunting honesty. The bond had been undeniable, but their time together was marred by battles that never fully healed. Yet Cher never let those emotional scars define her. She wore them quietly, choosing grace over regret, and pushed forward, not because she had to, but because she refused to stay still. That resilience led her straight into uncharted territory. With her music career fading and public interest shifting, Cher faced a music industry that had seemingly left her behind. But she wasn't about to fade into the background. In a move that shocked many, she signed with Casablanca Records, a label known for its disco flair. Though rock was her true calling, Cher took a risk and embraced the disco wave. Take Me Home was born, a glittering, seductive anthem that reintroduced her to the spotlight. It was a stunning pivot. The woman once seen as reluctant to adapt had suddenly become a disco queen, shimmering under lights she never imagined standing in. The song didn't just succeed. It roared back with a vengeance, turning heads and reviving her presence in a new era. Cher wanted something personal, raw, less about beats and more about heart. But the industry demanded dance floors, not diaries. The album failed to chart, and the spark dimmed. Still, she didn't crumble. Instead, she pivoted again, chasing a lifelong dream, fronting a rock band of her own. In 1980, she formed Black Rose with guitarist and partner Les Dudek, ready to make noise on her own terms. Yet even in that stillness, Cher's strength stirred. When she returned, it wasn't with fanfare, it was with quiet resolve. No flashy comeback, just a woman determined to start again. The world had moved on, but she hadn't given up. And maybe that's the real story. The silent suffering that doesn't get applause. The quiet resilience of a legend starting over. While Cher rebuilt from the shadows, Sonny Bono took a path no one saw coming. Gone was the man in flashy suits singing side by side with Cher. By 1988, he had traded in stages for a seat at the head of a political table, elected mayor of Palm Springs. Then, just 6 years later, he rose even higher as a U.S. congressman. He wasn't just reinventing himself, he was redefining legacy. And while the romance had long faded, Cher never stopped honoring the man who had once been her partner in life and art. But life has a way of striking when the heart is unguarded. A skiing accident in Aspen took Sonny's life in a flash. The world reeled, but no one felt the tremor more deeply than Cher. She flew from London immediately, her public image stripped away at Sonny's memorial. Standing at the podium, she didn't perform. She remembered. With raw emotion, she spoke not of conflict but of courage, not of past wounds but shared dreams. Her eulogy reminded the world, Sonny wasn't just a partner, he was a visionary who helped sculpt her into a cultural force. Behind Cher's diamonds, world tours, and movie roles lies her most vulnerable role: motherhood. Her youngest son, Elijah Blue Allman, once shared what it felt like to be the child of an icon. Sent to boarding school at just 7, Elijah described it not as independence, but abandonment. "It's kind of hard to feel like you're not being shunned," he confessed. That early separation carved invisible scars that adulthood never quite erased. Even years later, he admitted the wound hadn't fully healed, saying, "I'm at an age where I'm making peace with it, but it still doesn't mean it's right." In 2013, there was a spark of healing when Elijah and his wife moved in with Cher, hoping to rebuild what fame and distance had fractured. But hope is fragile. A private dispute shattered that reunion, and once again, mother and son stood on opposite shores of their complicated bond. Still, Elijah speaks with grace. He doesn't point fingers. Instead, he calls their connection a work in progress. There's no fairy tale ending here, just the reality of love and pain tangled together. And through it all, he holds on to the truth that remains. She's really talented. She's gorgeous. I mean, she's Cher. What's not to love? Cher's financial life mirrors her emotional journey, layered, bold, and resilient. From earning just $100 a week with Sonny to amassing a staggering net worth of over $360 million, her empire is built on endurance. Her real estate portfolio stretches from a mansion in Beverly Hills to a $45 million oceanfront estate in Malibu. Her garage once held luxury gems like a Bentley Continental GT and a Range Rover autobiography. She's known for Cartier and Rolex timepieces, each a symbol of power and elegance. Beyond entertainment, her business acumen shines, investing in fashion, fragrance lines, and even tech ventures. Her strategic moves have ensured not just wealth, but longevity. She's also been prudent with insurance, securing policies to protect her health, career interruptions, and multi-million-dollar assets. Wow, what a journey, right? From chart-topping fame and political surprises to private heartbreaks and emotional reunions, Cher and Sonny's story had it all. We saw a woman rise again after being knocked down by illness, a man trade stage lights for Congress, and a son searching for connection through the echoes of a complicated past. Their lives were more than just music and fame. They were layered, human, and deeply moving. If you found yourself hooked by all the twists and turns, go ahead and hit that like button. Drop a comment and let us know. What part of their story surprised you the most? And hey, don't forget to subscribe because we've got more incredible celebrity deep dives coming your way.